production is brought to you by DHBN, WTHC Radio, and Stoner Records.
Granny's got the good stuff.
Theme song for Medical Mondays with Granny Cannabis. Reading by the dude for WO. Wake up, it's Monday, time to tune in. Granny's on the mic with a cheeky little grin. Talking about tarps, tinctures, and trees. Dropping that knowledge like a breeze through the leaves. She's been rolling joints since 73. Knew the truth about weed before the PhDs. Now she's here to share what the doctors missed. Everybody she touches got a healing twist. Granny's got the good stuff, yeah she do. CBD, THC, and a cup of tea too. Lighting up your mind and your endo system. She's the queen of green, better not forget 'em. It's Medical Monday, pull up a chair. Granny Cannabis is always gonna care. From pain relief to feeling blessed. Granny's got your wisdom, is the best. She's not your average cookie baking type, unless that cookie's got cannabis butter ripe. Talking tinctures, topicals, RSO. Giving out the facts every patient should know. No shame in the game when you're living in pain. Granny's got your back, sunshine or rain. She's the medicine mama with a heart of gold. And every story she tells, pure green and bold. Granny's got the good stuff, yeah she do. CBD, THC, and a cup of tea too. Lighting up your mind and your endo system. She's the queen of green, better not forget 'em. It's Medical Monday, pull up a chair. Granny Cannabis is always gonna care. From pain relief to feeling blessed. Granny's got your wisdom, is the best. She's not your average cookie baking type, unless that cookie's got cannabis butter ripe. Talking tinctures, topicals, RSO. Giving out the facts every patient should know. No shame in the game when you're living in pain. Granny's got your back, sunshine or rain. She's the medicine mama with a heart of gold. And every story she tells, pure green and bold. Granny's got the good stuff, yeah she do. CBD, THC, and a cup of tea too. Lighting up your mind and your endo system. She's the queen of green, better not forget 'em. It's Medical Monday, pull up a chair. Granny Cannabis is always gonna care. From pain relief to feeling blessed. Granny's got your wisdom, is the best. Well honey, I've seen it all. From prohibition days to dispensary praise. And one thing I know for sure, this plant, she's a healer. So light up, learn something, and love yourself. Granny, she knows what's up. Cannabis, she grows that stuff. Healing vibes on the airwaves. It's Medical Monday, behave. Medical Mondays, Granny Cannabis. Only on WTHC Radio, baby.
Hi guys. Hello, Becky.
Theme song for Medical Mondays with Granny Cannabis. Reading by the dude for WO. Wake up, it's Monday.
I love this song.
Granny's on the mic with a cheeky little grin. Talking about tarps, tinctures, and trees. Dropping that knowledge like a breeze through the leaves. She's
Yay! Hello, everybody.
Sorry, I had it on loop.
I figured. I was grooving on it though. That was kind of sweet. All right, guys. Medical Mondays. I'm hoping Lainie comes. She's supposed to be here. I'm sure she'll get here as soon as she can. So nice to have you all here. We are going to be talking about medicine. We are going to be talking about how our body is actually made to process cannabis. Yes, indeed it is. Talk about a natural medicine. And believe it or not, marijuana is not the only plant that produces cannabinoids. That's a fact. Been doing research on that, and there are some other plants in South America and in Asia that they have been finding produce cannabinoids. Right? The intro song was fantastic. Yes, Lainie. So, one of the topics, there's my girl. Hey, baby.
Oh, hey.
Hi, beautiful.
I'm like, I didn't even know I was here for a minute, man. What's going on, guys?
Oh, not much. I was talking about, I've been doing some research and I have been finding that there are types of plants in South America that they're finding that are not specifically marijuana, but they produce cannabinoids. And there's some that they're finding in China as well. They're not strictly a marijuana plant, but they do indeed produce very strong cannabinoids.
I believe I have heard this lore before. Yes.
Yeah, so I've been researching it, and I'm just wondering, with deforestation and all that stuff, how many other types of cannabinoids we might be missing.
Well, deforestation is the least of our concerns right now.
I know. I'm just saying, historically, what other medicine are we missing out on? That makes me sad.
Tons and tons of medicine that we should be getting that we're not, and instead we're sold. Everything you eat is medicine, man. That's the lie we were fed. Our real food, hey guys, our
right?
Food is
the gang's all here.
or if you eat real food, it's got everything we need in it. That's the problem. They took all our food away.
And they put preservatives in it.
God knows what. At the very least, preservatives.
And they changed the genetics of it.
All of it. Yeah.
I know. But we are here to talk about, first off, I want to know these updates on Operation Heal. I hear you have a new chocolate out.
Oh, so chocolate is, I did for our holy day.
Yes.
Last year I did the funny dip. That's how that came to light. Was I wanted to come up, I like to come up with something special for 420.
Exactly.
And I was reflecting and I realized, I was like, wow, I have been at this since 2023.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, I'm fucking amazed I made it this far, if I'm telling the truth.
You are a very determined woman. You are a very determined woman.
With the bank knocking on my door, I'm waiting for the standoff, but I don't know, man. I got some good irons in the fire there. I'm not
good
worried about these assholes. But yeah, so I rolled out, on TikTok. Everybody was Dubai chocolate this, Dubai chocolate that, and I'm like, damn, all that money and no weed in it,
right? Like what was it made of? Like it wasn't made of gold.
No, but so mine are the black gold,
That's right.
So I said, I'll do I hate fucking working with chocolate. Like it is so much work. But
and it's finicky. It's very finicky.
The artist in me loves it, but the maker and the baker in me fucking hates it because it's a big cleanup. It's a big deal, but it comes out so beautiful and it's so delicious. I gotta get you some. You have a 420 pack coming. I gotta get my shit together. I have a few stragglers out there. You know me. I took on some very large vet packs, way larger than I would normally do. But these specific veterans need some real relief and real attention and happiness.
And yes, that is what we are absolutely all about and definitely here to discuss. Especially like this first with this one, I want to stress how important it is to veterans. Veterans, as we all know, are very near and dear to my heart. I come from a family that's always served in the military. My granddaughter's a Lance Corporal now. I'm so proud of her.
Aww.
Anyways, so veterans are near and dear to my heart. I have had family members that came out of the military and they did not have PTSD issues, but they did have physical injuries. And I have family members that didn't necessarily have quite the physical injuries, but a lot of PTSD, just from different things that they saw and had to do in the military. So I am finding with our veterans, it is not just RSO doesn't just cover one thing for them. It can cover a multitude of the things that they go through after serving. I just lost sound.
I don't know why. Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go.
That was weird. It just like muted itself. See, that's the fucking government trying to silence me, and I'm not going to have it.
No, they're not going to silence us either.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. We're here to talk about the veterans, and that RSO is a natural medicine that covers a multitude of needs for them.
So RSO is so different from just straight
Smoking.
cannabis in itself. You know,
Yes.
the benefits, what goes on with your brain when you start using it every day, and really, especially with PTSD,
Or bone-on-bone pain issues, that type of thing.
I keep getting muted, like random muting. It's crazy. It just keeps saying muted. Is someone in my computer? I don't know how to tell.
Just keep going and we'll just work through it.
So where were we? I'm sorry. Do you remember?
RSO and the multitude and how it's different from just straight cannabis.
Right. So what it did for my PTSD, if I had known, I would have found a way to start so much sooner. You know, it really took me. I was always smoking for my mind,
Right.
for the last 17 years, so, or 18. When I started on the RSO, it did things for my brain and allowed me to start actually working on issues that I was completely just blocking out my whole life, right? Because I also have CPTSD.
Trauma compounded and
right.
compounded and compounded, yes.
Right. And I also have fibromyalgia. I had Lyme disease. So I have a lot of physical need as well, you know.
Right.
But, and those things I was treating before cannabis with things like turmeric and other natural ways, because the pharmaceuticals they put me on for the Lyme and for what came with the Lyme, which was rheumatoid, fibromyalgia, and they were like, no, they called me in and said, you have 2 of the 3 factors for lupus now. And I was like, fuck you. You're not giving me one more disease. I'm done. And I walked away, literally. And that was it.
But that genuinely, when you're at the doctor, can definitely feel like this.
I mean, it had to be, because as soon as I said that and walked away, I got no more problems. You know, I got 99 problems, but that shit ain't one now.
There you go.
As soon as I got rid of what they were giving me and did my own research and started finding my own solutions to things, slowly but surely, here the fuck we are. And I'm very proud to say I got rid of all of it. And they had me on opiates. They had me on fentanyl. They had me on
the worst of the worst.
Patches, big fuckers, 100 micrograms an hour. I didn't even know what the shit was. This is a dead true story.
You muted, babe.
Keep doing that. I'm not doing it. It's like,
it's okay. It's all right.
So I go to my doctor, right? And, you know, I was working then, and everybody at the office, this was the doctor everybody went to. And basically, he was a pill pusher. You go in, you say, I want diet pills, he'd give them to you. You say, you know, I want pain pills, he'd give them to you. I literally said, I don't want anything addictive, but is there something stronger than a lidocaine patch? Because my son was at the time, at that moment, like 3 weeks old, 8 pounds, and I couldn't pick him up because I had fucked my back up so bad.
Right.
After my epidural. And really, it was probably the epidural that fucked it up. Now I know this, but all ago, I had no clue. I just knew I couldn't lift my 8-pound child, and I was a farm girl, so that wasn't gonna fly.
No.
So his nurse says, "Oh, use one of these," and she lifts her shirt up and shows me this little patch on her back. And I said, "What is it?" She said, "It's a transdermal patch. It'll be perfect." I said, "It's not addictive?" She said, "Absolutely not. Look, I wear it." And that they stuck me with fentanyl right there. I had I was nodding while I was driving. No,
Yeah, that stuff
clue.
is scary. It is absolutely
Terrified.
terrifying.
Never touched any drugs harder than cocaine. If I couldn't smoke it, I didn't do it. And he knew that.
You're muted, babe.
This is so weird. I've never seen this happen before.
I don't know what's happening, boss man. We're trying.
I'm not touching nothing. Skunky's not touching nothing. We're all just sitting here, and I don't know what's going on. It's a ghost.
Is there a ghost in Europe? Yep. Unmute yourself, babe.
Oh, you're muted now, yeah. No, still. You might need to jump out and jump back in. You're getting a bad connection or something. Hi, Rich. How are you, buddy? Good. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for everything.
Everybody, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate and love you guys.
And really, if there weren't technical issues, it wouldn't be my show.
Right. Or my station.
Exactly. We're like the technical trouble twins here.
Hear
Right.
me now.
Yes,
No.
you can.
Hey, I can hear you
Okay.
now.
Yeah,
So
all right.
today is the day that Keith departed to the ethereal. And he's probably out here telling me to shut the fuck up and talk about veterans, because I can't figure out any logical reason that this would be going on outside of the government inside of my computer. And they have tapped me before. So anything's possible, but it might be the kid. And now that it's probably going to stop, I would say it was him. If it doesn't happen again, it was Keith saying that he wants some attention. Period.
Keith, we got you.
He didn't want it to be this way. I promise you that.
I know, babe.
There he is.
All right, Granny. One last thing. 420 coming. See this little thing in the corner here, the box that says the Hippie Broadcasting Network on it?
Yep.
Yeah. That'll flash when it's getting close to 420. If you see that flashing, that's like time to say, all right, we're getting ready for our 420 song. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. I will remember that. Thank you, boss.
I see no flashing.
It will soon, in like 4 minutes.
Oh yeah, it was totally Keith. Mute, unmute, mute. Oh, you motherfuckers. Meanwhile, I got his picture right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's like, talk about what I want you to talk about. But like I was saying before, and what you were saying before, it's something that the veterans genuinely need. They need a medicine for them that is not going to cause all these side effects that just makes them worse.
So many side effects. And that's the thing. So many fucking side effects. And I'll
Liver problems, kidney problems, weight gain.
The fact that I know personally so many veterans that are basically forced into morphine pumps.
Yes.
Crazy shit. Not allowed to touch cannabis. Not allowed to, or they will lose their fucking pump and whatever else they have.
Right.
So it's like they basically are. And now the VFW did an article. Not the VFW. The VFW. All about the benefits of cannabis for PTSD.
Yes, the Veterans for Foreign Wars are very, very a big proponent.
It's like it doesn't happen. Are you kidding me? Like that should be part of the process. It should just be part of the process. And so now, never mind the fact that those vets that are in physical pain, and many of them have had, surgeries and things that, or injuries or have been blown up in shit that caused this pain. And now you're going to tell them they can't, but they can drink.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like,
even though the alcohol kills 75% of the medicine that they're taking and interacts badly with it.
Right. And not just that. It's like if Keith wasn't drunk, he wouldn't have departed that evening. I'll promise you with every ounce of my being, if he was
Honey,
not
and you
drunk.
would know. You would know. It's true.
He had so much strength and so much resilience. And alcohol does terrible fucking things. You got your
It
light.
does. Yeah, we're gonna go to 420 in a minute. And alcohol does terrible things. And we're gonna be going to a song here in just a little bit, talking about weed. Because, you know, we love it.
Well,
oh man, that looks like it's our last one, man.
That is our last one, man.
Good thing we can scrape the pipe, bro. Never gonna be bankrupt again. 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 Gee! Morning had to scrape my pride. Knew that when I went to bed last night. Had a premonition in my head that I never gonna wake bankrupt again. Jumped on my bike and pedaled downtown on the lookout for the one John Brown. Found him in a corner parking lot, smoking spliffs, and said, "Here, man, you want to take a hit?" I said, "I'm never gonna be bankrupt again. Never gonna be bankrupt again. Never gonna be bankrupt again. Never gonna be bankrupt again." Went back home to put the seeds in the soil. Compost recipe from brethren I know. Water pH 6.1. Jah in control of the ebb and flow. Baking seeds, putting flour in my hand so that I will never awake bankrupt again. I said I'm never gonna be bankrupt again. 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 Always bring a flower to my friends. Always connecting to the music of medicine. Always finding ways to sing. Positivity and healing vibes. Always attracting my tribe. Always vulnerable to the tides. Always accountable for my strides. Holding on, not folding beyond. Letting go and letting you know. Bankrupt isn't never gonna be a part of my flow. I said I'm never gonna be bankrupt again. Never gonna be gonna be bankrupt again. I said, hey, John Brown, can I give you a hand so that you yourself will never be bankrupt again? I said, never gonna be bankrupt again. 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 Wow!
Yo, 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 it's Big J here. And guess what? On Tuesday, April 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're gonna get wild in the green room with the one and only Joe Denham. He's bringing the laughs, the stories, and probably a tractor or two. So grab your snacks, roll it fat, and tune in to WTHC Radio on Live 365, TuneIn, YouTube, or Facebook Live. It's gonna be funny, it's gonna be stony, it's gonna be legendary. Don't miss it, man.
I love our commercials. They're the best.
That's pretty fucking rad.
I know. I'm like the best boss. Hands down. It's a fact. All right, honey. So one of the things that I want to know is at what point did you hit, I'm going to try RSO for my medicine? What led you to that?
Well,
What research were you doing?
I didn't even know what RSO did. I was always looking at RSO as a cancer solution.
Right.
That was my research, and I knew it was a strong oil, so I had been playing around with making it. But you know, back in the day when I played around making it, I would do poquito. You know, I would
Exactly.
an ounce and I was fucking it all up and wasting most of the weed for a long time. And when I got it to work, you know, I was like, okay, great, I got it to work, but you know, that's a lot of work, and I was working full time back then, and it wasn't something I would have endeavored to make on my own. At that point, it was still pretty much only legal in Cali and maybe Colorado by then, you know, but
okay, yeah.
not many places other than that. And so,
And it was hard to get amount of to make a decent amount of RSO for yourself.
Right. And So I just back burner that shit because I figured I'll wait till I have cancer and then I know how to make it now and I'll dive in when I need to.
Right.
So I was dealing with the Keith thing pretty fresh, and shortly thereafter, some people I met on the talk. There was this chick selling, Munchables, and a lot of them were made with RSO, and I wanted to try them out, and
Right.
up until that point, the edibles that were available, and this is more recently, obviously, but at that point, the edibles that were available around here, there was no RSO unless you wanted to pay like $85 a gram at the
Right.
dispo.
It was the straight up weed. Yeah.
So that wasn't, realistic. And so I would try the edibles that would come across here and there. Punch bars were pretty much the only thing that was made with a good enough quality product that I didn't get a headache from it.
Right.
And as far as flavor goes, they all sucked. They were just all shitty. And
they
I
have
hate
that barky,
sour.
that dark, barky, weird kind of taste. It doesn't even taste green, it tastes brown.
If you ain't had you a cold beaver, I don't know what you was doing. Because these now flavor, my darling, that's flavor.
I know.
I don't want to taste weed in my food,
No.
and if I do, I want it to go together. I don't want it to clash. So, and I don't want to just destroy my taste buds with citric acid and call it sour candy. And that, like, Keith would eat those. He would eat the belts and he would eat all these gross fucking gummies that I couldn't even tolerate,
Yeah.
And so when I endeavored, so this chick made, she was a professional chef, pastry
Right.
chef, and she made some divine shit, and I'll still give her props there. She's crazy as a shithouse rat, but and I can't deal with that kind of crazy in my life for long periods. But the food was fucking, she did
phenomenal.
Two things I didn't like about it. I didn't like that I had to eat a whole fucking pastry every time or something like very
Right.
gourmet type, sometimes you
Right.
want to just pop and go. And she was inconsistent because she was buying her RSO. I think she was probably playing around with dosage, trying to, make it work. And she was so fucking expensive that, when we had a working household, it worked.
Right.
For $400 a month in edibles. And at that point, she turned me on to her RSO chick. So I had access to really good RSO.
Right.
Back then, I think it was $50 a gram, and so it was cheaper than the dispo. And I had some friends that were getting it from the dispo, so I started trying it. And I, you know how it goes. You have one friend making edibles, and you want to support them, and now you have this other friend who makes RSO, and you want to support them, and your pocket's in the middle, and you're trying, not to go broke. They were both making me go broke. That's the bottom line. And
right.
Why I try so hard to keep my prices as let's not call them prices, they're donations.
Donations.
Like, it's so hard to keep them where you're getting multiple doses at least, or you're getting one really fucking good ride for the day.
Right.
And into tomorrow and the next day, and you have no pain and you slept good all night, and then it's worth it, But I was also getting super fat because a lot of her stuff was, like I said, pastries and things like that.
Since you had to eat the whole pastry,
or at least half. I mean, it's
right.
me, so a lot,
right.
A lot of it, was trial and error too, because it's very hard to figure out dosing, and it's all a guess anyway. None of it's real. Like when something says 500 milligrams of THC on it at the dispo, it really factually isn't. And when I'm putting it on there now, which is not everything, but I'm putting estimated at, because that's what it is. It's an estimate.
Yes.
And unless you're testing it with scientific equipment that costs more than everybody in your fucking town put together has in their pockets, I bet, then you're estimating. And that's the norm, right? So now I do that. I can give people a better handle on doses, but she didn't have any idea what she was even putting in half the time. And I all celebrate the stoner life, but when I have to cook, I try to keep my head together. Now sometimes I can't because I had to taste something and it gets a little out of control.
I have
But
no idea what you're talking about.
most of the time I try not to imbibe too heavily in the tasting until I get to the end and it's in my head what I did to do it. And I know it's, I clicked save and it stuck with me. Anyway, long story short, I lose my job right after I sign for my house, by the way, my final mortgage. And so that was great. But also I couldn't afford either of them anymore. And I had to come up with a solution. And I had my same florist now. We've gone through several gardeners, he and I, in trying to find the right deal. But the same florist, I went to him and I said, can you help me by covering this amount? And we would go back. So I got enough together that I could try a real batch,
Good.
And I said, if I get this shit right, I'm going to offer it at least to my friends, so that they can save some fucking money. Because
Exactly.
it's if it I can't be the only one it kills, and it was killing me. And that's what I did. So but that happened right. So I got to experience the benefits of RSO in full on grief. Like my heart actually had physical pain. And I've never experienced that with sorrow before. I've heard people talk about it, but my heart actually hurt.
Yeah.
And I was in such a dark place, such a dark place, dude, because you're like, you take this being that you thought, holy shit, this kid has it together. Like, if anyone can save the fucking world, it's this kid, and he's strong and he's commands respect. And I had the absolute pleasure of sharing a work environment with him for a couple of years and got to see him in a leadership role and really get to appreciate
all of who he was.
Oh my God. He was just so fucking amazing. And I laid in my bed that first night in actual pain thinking, how the fuck can you take down someone like that? What kind of sick shit is in your fucking brain that lets you dip out when you're that strong? Like really. And you had to be around him to understand it. But anyway, so shit happens, and that's what he did. And so I said, I don't deal with grief. Like that was really the first, like my mother's still alive, my father's still alive. I had lost some grandparents by then, but we're not a close family. We kind of all hate each other. So I hadn't had a real experience with actual grief, and that was fucking bullshit. So, are you frozen, Granny? Am I here? Is anyone else here?
Yeah, you're here. Yeah, you're still here. Granny, wake up.
I'm here.
Did you have a seizure? You all right?
You okay?
I don't know what happened, guys.
Casey's there probably. Did you get him fucking?
Can you see me, dear?
Yeah,
I see you.
Yeah, everything's back to normal now. Go for it. You were just frozen there looking at us like you saw a ghost. And then
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
Did she see a ghost though? That's what I'm trying to get to the heart of.
Just keep talking, Lainie.
Okay. So anyway, grief sucks. That was
I'm
my
so
first time.
sorry.
It's okay. And I realized that I needed to deal with it somehow because I kept getting caught in a loop. And I'm sure vets go through this when they lose their buddies. It's like I let him go. And I'll tell everyone right now, and it's not something I share with everyone. So the night that Keith went out, he left at around midnight that night. That evening around 8 p.m., and I don't have all the details because I'm not at war. His father is at war with the world. So we don't get to know the truth. But that evening, he's a narcissist, if that helps. I was like heartbroken. And I was thinking I was going through menopause, right? And I kept having this urge to call him. And I was like, you're crazy. Do not call that kid and lay this shit on him. Just cry it out and get over it. But I kept like wanting to call him. Well, now, of course, right after this, I feel like it's my fucking fault because I reasoned my way out. I will never ignore another gut feeling. And I'm sure there might even be veterans in here who I have already, escalated because they didn't respond back. And I was like, oh, no. Are you okay?
Yeah.
And whether it be weather or whether it be,
and not you don't do that with just veterans. You do that with other friends of yours that have PTSD and go quiet. And I know that for a fact.
These are people that I barely know. And now here I am ready to hotline there. No, not really, because I hate the fucking fuzz, right? So here's me calling every fucking veteran I know or texting. Look, there he is.
Yep.
Who lives near blah, blah, blah. I need to get somebody boots on the ground. I'm stalking your Facebook. And if you've been through it with me, already, I'm trying to find somebody to make sure you fuckers are okay. So if you know anything, know that I fucking care. And I don't have a car that I can get outside of the next town over. I don't dare.
She'll even get a hold of random DJs and go, hey, do you have anybody in this area that could get over here? Can you check for me? And I will check for her and for veterans every fucking time.
Yeah,
and
the same way I have that bus in my fucking front yard right now that didn't cost us anything to tow it. I will find a way to get to whoever's out there,
Yeah.
Not on my fucking watch, not after what I went through. And the world is shitty enough, man. So I took that moment and said, first of all, if Keith was here, I would have changed his fucking life with this shit. That was my first thought with RSO.
Right.
It would have been everything to him. So we got to make that a thing. And we got to make it a thing to tell other people what the fuck.
But not just from your own personal experience. You did research on this. You did, and you read scientific articles, and you read medical studies.
That though, because I'm one of those jump in and figure it out as you go along people. I don't know if there's a lot of us out there or not. Like I do everything.
There's nothing wrong with learning as you go.
So it makes Carson crazy and ages him. Which is fine because he's younger than me anyway. So fuck him. But it's stressful for him because what I'll do is I'll say, I'm gonna open a not-for-profit. Oh, this cocksucker that just moved in next door though, I'm gonna go to war with him too. And that bitch over there, fuck her, I'm going to war with her. And let's put a farm stand out front. And then I'm going to start giving weed to whoever the fuck wants it. And if they're a military veteran, they get even more. How about that? That's how it kind of goes with me. And, so it's stressful to be in my world and then trying to keep up. But so I did that though. Right, because I got the campers and I got Triple Acres Healing Farm and Veteran Camping Retreat. Okay,
yeah.
Basically, the vibe there is you come here, you imbibe. If you want to go fishing, we go fishing. We have fishing poles. If you want to go hunting, it's not so easy because there's seasons and shit. But I'm 3 miles from 1,000 acres of state.
Exactly.
I have the best rivers for fly fishing around me, so I'm going to use it. And
I'm not lying. The rivers around her for fly fishing are excellence. Oh my lord.
Really, really. And don't forget to
And
get you a cold beaver and take on the river trip with you.
exactly. And even just hiking in her area.
All of it. All of it. The vibe, the nature, and a big white bird in the zoo. That's goddamn right. Because the zoo is next, people. Okay. And we're not calling it a zoo. We're calling it a sanctuary because I don't believe in zoos. I want to treat these creatures to the best life they could have. So we're starting small there. But you can expect a donkey sometime in the near future.
I
And
love donkeys.
probably some peacocks and shit. And probably some goats. I'm getting the peer pressure for the goats from neighboring
Actually,
people.
right now, well, I don't know if they're still doing it, but for a while, because we need the wool production, if you put in some sheeps, you used to be able to get grants for fencing
Really,
and stuff for sheep. Yeah.
this
So
is
that
this
you can
is
do your own wool production. But this
this
was
is.
like a few years ago.
They
So
might still be though, because this is where I have to like network better with farmers.
yes.
Because I don't. You know, I just don't. I don't network with anyone because I kind of hate people, and I just kind of sit in my little corner here.
Now,
And
one of
I
the
love
questions that
animals.
we had, right? So we had a question a little bit back, and I do want to bring that up. The hippie asked if RSO is the same thing as the dark hash oil from the 80s.
So it is hash oil, but it's Rick Simpson's process, okay? And this is why I said there's no such thing as sativa RSO. And I swear, if there's anything I could waste, 10 or 20 hours on and had a couple of 100,000, I'd take a billboard campaign out and put one by every dispo, because calling it RSO, which is Rick Simpson oil, is saying that that's the Rick Simpson process. Well, no, it's not, because Rick Simpson specifically required indica for his process. So you
Exactly.
cannot have sativa. And it makes me
Then it's just hash oil.
Hash oil. It's just hash oil, guys. And if you're making it right, don't use fucking naphtha. Don't use fucking isopropyl. I don't know why Google tells you to use those things, but please fucking don't. If you
Very
wouldn't
bad
eat it,
for you. Very
if you
bad
wouldn't
for
put
you.
it in your mouth, don't put it in your weed. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's how I look at it. So I use 190 grain alcohol. I've tried a few different ones. People said, "Oh, this one's got metal in it. That one does." I've magnetized all of them. I see no metal. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I have no issues with it. I'm very happy with the grain alcohol I use. And but yeah, it's hash oil, man. It's hash oil. You could smoke it. People are like, "Oh, you could smoke." Yeah, you could smoke it, but why would you? You're wasting all of the good shit if you smoke it,
Oh, yeah.
And you want to make sure it's clean. You don't want to try to fire up some shit that's not been cleaned out all the way. And I process mine down to tar because I
Yes.
don't care about the yield. But
Exactly.
most of the other places don't do that. A lot of places are putting in a thinning agent so that they get more out of it, or they can pass. If it can go through one of those little tiny glass syringes, then I don't consider it good RSO, because I can't even get mine to look at the nozzle. My
Right.
RSO, I couldn't ever consider getting it through any small syringe. And don't tell me to heat it, because you're heating plastic.
Exactly.
And that's in an oil. An oil is very drawing, oils. So, I put mine in glass. If I got to syringe some up, and then I store it in glass. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
it
I
should
do.
not
Yes.
be like people store this shit in their plasticware, and that scares me. Like, there's so many things. You're eating it and you're inhaling it. Don't fuck around.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. Look what so now we're seeing what all that purple fucking ketchup and weird crap that they put in our food did to us. All of these diseases came from what we're putting in our bodies.
Quite a few of them. Yes. I
Well,
yes.
or they're
Absolutely.
government engineered to control population, or control the deer, or control the coyotes, or who the fuck knows who they're trying to control. They kill squirrels over here. So, like, I'm in New York, and you remember they gunned down that poor defenseless squirrel. And
Oh, yes.
yeah, crazy.
Yes.
Crazy.
So those same people are drinking water out of plastic bottles. Yes.
So here's my, let me just throw this out there, people. If someone tells you that they're like, I don't care what you buy or who you buy from, like, I'm not in this for money, you guys know that. And I don't even,
Exactly.
I run out because I send what I have left after a sale to a veteran. Like, it's just for nothing. You know, I just took a new vet tonight because I don't fucking care. It's really not about the fucking money. I'm gonna have a standoff like the OK Corral here over bills before I'm gonna take something away from a vet. That's what our government does. I'm not big pharma. I'm not the government.
No.
I have absolute faith in God and the universe that my shit will be covered. Keith was just here muting my fucking mic over and over again. That was a blessing for me. You can't even imagine, you know?
I can.
Don't buy shit from people that you see using great value shit and making you things. Like, I've seen so many sourdough starters made with Walmart brand hyper enriched fucking flour. That's the root of your fucking, you know? It's like you want to have this great thing to put in your body, but you're going to start with the most poison fucking thing you can find. And that makes me crazy. So
I know.
You know?
Me too. But so when you went in on the RSO, you went in and you looked and you learned and you researched to make it the true RSO, not just the hash oil. And that's the difference between what you're doing as medicine. Now, does hash oil have some of the same properties medicinally that the RSO has?
I'm sure it must, because I mix strains all the time and I've come up with some really great fucking formulas that I love now. And they're indica dominant, all of them. So you're getting the best of both worlds. Thank you, Karen. Have a good evening. You're getting the best of both worlds, but you know, I liked, when I first started doing this, I was doing it with just Bubba Kush, and it made a beautiful RSO. It's a very oily fucking strain. It was good RSO, but it got played out. I had so much of it. We had 15 fucking pounds we went through, so it was a large supply. And when we went to re-up the dudes, we tried to double the price. Because everybody, you know, right away, they see you go through 15 pounds of that shit. Oh my God, you know, here, I might charge you twice. So we decided to go for a different gardener, a better quality flower. We, like, the Bubba wasn't trimmed or any of that. So we wanted a smokable flower.
Right.
That we could also do the RSO with. And that's what we got. Right. So now now what I'll do is I'll take whatever our predominant strains are for the month or whatever long they last, and whichever ones make the best oil, I'll work with those. But I'll also sample in other strains that are for pain or good for creativity, so that now you're not getting couch locked, you're getting up and doing shit. And if there's anyone in the audience here that has taken my stuff, a lot of you get up and move, and I've heard it and get inspired, and that's kind of what I do. I want to get inspired, you know. I want to get up and do shit. I don't want to just pass out and go to sleep. And that's when I was getting the edibles from other folks, I was sleeping a lot more. I wasn't as creative. So I do recognize that is something probably more unique to my RSO. Maybe not every RSO out there. I'm not sure. You know, I only can go by what I go by. It's because it's like a sativa effect, but with an indica calm. It's very hard.
Andy, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Andy. And Andy, if you need anything, you know, wink, wink. So
Tell Andy real quick about you.
Oh, about Keith,
Operation Heal.
So Operation Heal,
Is the organization that
Is the
Lainie runs.
that it became because of the departure of this young Marine who was a young father at the time, and my son's brother. So we started this effort in his honor. He had his own organization, which his mother still continues today, which is Operation Got Your Six, focused more on veteran day-to-day needs. She stays away from the flower. She and Keith didn't have the same association there.
Right. It happens. Relationships grow and they're
It was
never the
just,
same.
she's one side and she's not very, it's not that she's not flower friendly. She's not flower experienced,
She's not educated.
And Keith burned her. Like he gave her edibles that were way too strong and fucked with her. So
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
not
afraid
good.
of the situation.
Right.
But
the work that you do, because of Keith is
right. So Keith was not medicated enough with flowers at the time. We had both gone through some financial strain. He just had a baby. He just signed a new mortgage. His personal problems will not be brought up here, but let's just say that he was imbibing way too much in alcohol and way not enough in cannabis.
healing. Yes.
Yeah. And like I said before, at that time, there was no RSO yet. We weren't even doing the RSO yet. So it was just cannabis smoking and regular. Yes. And so Hop Frog is Schoolies for veterans. I see him popping up there. And Keith brought Poe and I together because Poe is basically Keith's school bus mission to a T. He's got the same focus as Keith there and the same idea. Keith wanted to rehab school buses and outfit them for veterans to live in that were homeless. He also wanted to take one on the road, do like a door-to-door thing with vets, give them like a pull-up. I forget what he called it. I can look it up because I have the text, but basically a pull-up chill pad, right? So come relax, smoke, take a shower, talk, watch some, whatever you need to do to come down from where you are.
Right.
We're here to help you do that, and we're going to stay as long as we need to.
Exactly.
Keith also wanted to take veterans and liberate battered women with a force. So we haven't gotten to that part yet because really that's a niche that you need a lot of things going on for. My felony conviction, considered violent in most states, is not one that goes well with that, because of the permits you need and the licensing and things. It's just probably not going to happen. But if there's a veteran out there that's passionate about that side and that's already started something, we would love. So that's part of what I'm doing now. And Poe is also, and we're organizing with other property owners. So if there are veterans that are out there nomad, if they're out there living in a tent and they need a safe place to set up,
even just pitch that tent. Yeah.
We're networking people to help those guys. Okay. And we're networking properties. So Triple Acres Healing is now officially a not-for-profit LLC, accepted by the powers that be very recently. The next step from there is to get this finished. So we have some campers, can get a vet off the street for a few weeks, even a few months, depending on the time of year, and help them get resituated. The garden should go in this spring, or at least a decent part of it. And I know you will, Paul. Were you here when he was muting my mic? Oh my God, that was great. I hope there's a recording of this. Is there?
Oh yes, this will be able to go over and over and over.
Awesome.
The boss man will cut that section out for you totally if you want.
That would be rad. I would love that. Because that was him. And I said that for a reason. I said it doesn't happen again. It was this kid. It never happened again. Oh, yeah, I got a shirt on, actually. Thank you. That's Jeff, but I know him as Combat Vet. I like to call him that. He made this, and he made a billion others that I love hanging all around this room. And I
Thank you
don't
so
want
much for being here, everybody.
to part with
Everybody.
them. But he also made these pipes, and I'm gonna try and collab with him. And right. Wait.
Oh, I'm in love. I'm in love. Can we interview you, Jeff? Can we interview you? You're muted, girl. Keith is telling you it's time to. That is hilarious.
He's just a funny kid. Mm.
Right? The boss and I just are like, can we Jeff, we want to interview you. That's a fact. We do.
Coolest fucking people I know. I mean, everyone I know is pretty much fucking awesome, actually. You all got really, like, now that I think about
So
it,
now
I
you're
think
doing
finally,
Operation Heal. You've got the merch going on.
yeah, we got the merch. That's on
You've got
Bonfire under
Mhm.
/Operation Heal. But you can go to www.operationheal.com, 2 E's, because we had to be a little clever there because we don't want to align the two things.
Oh,
And
Jeff,
that
not right now. I mean, like, get ready to. Sorry, he just replied. I mean, like, set up an interview for later.
oh, he's grilling. This poor, it's so hot where he is. His chocolate eggs liquefied. He was managed to eat them anyway, but it was so heartbreaking to me when I heard the news, because you know how I am. If I make something, I want it to arrive perfect.
Exactly, you do actually.
And if you haven't tried a cold beaver, you really need to. The
You
slushy
do.
beavers are a summertime must-have if you want to relax poolside and not
It's so
have that
true.
heavy alcohol, fucking overheated vibe. You hit one of these bad boys. Now they're roughly the squirty beavers. The squirt. You remember squirt soda?
Yes.
So the squirty beavers. I don't know whoever's in charge of marketing is a fucking asshole. I'll tell you that.
I think they're amazing.
So the squirty beavers are a little stronger than the strong beaver.
Okay.
But they're all slushy variety, but it's squirt soda, and that's the
Right.
flavor of the beaver. But they're available in all of our childhood favorites. There's root beer float, there's frozen Coke, there's the squirty beaver, of course, and that's for summer 2025 only. That's a special
fantastic,
flavor.
though.
It's a custom blend. That's why. Anytime I have to mix flavors, it's very expensive and it's not something I can do forever. But I love doing it for short bursts and having something cool go on.
It's a fun experiment too, just to play a little.
Exactly. And now, hot off the presses, we have cinnamon toast, French toast, everything, which is for the cinnamon lovers specifically. You can use it on pies, ice cream, toast, and it's roughly around 25 milligrams per tablespoon of THC.
Ooh,
So
nice.
if you need a heavier hit, you just find a way to use more. You know, similar to the Fun Dip or
right.
The Spacey Dust is also around 25 milligrams a tablespoon. A tablespoon. But that is another, add it to your ice cream. Be creative. I love seeing people. I have a girl eating the cocoa with a spoon. And I have another girl that turns it into frosting. Is she in here? She basically does a 50-50 on that bitch.
Marquita says she needs a squirty beaver.
I'm telling you, she does. And
she
they
does.
are delicious.
She really is.
So I have the most judgy, mean mother in the world, okay? My mother is such a boomer bitch about everything, right? She's my mother. I can say that. But
I know she's your mom. You go, girl.
But I learned. So here's something everyone should know. My mother's a chemist, and my entire childhood was learning about flavors and fragrances and essential oils and helping her detect different oils and different fragrances in every perfume, basically using me like a dissection machine because I had young
you had a fresh palate.
Right, exactly. So I started very young being around someone making these kinds of things, and it was like almost like second nature for me to make this shit. But she's been my testing board, and she's worked for companies like Giorgio Armani. She's made Finesse shampoo. She's worked behind big flavors that I can't even mention because I think she signed special shit for.
Yeah, those. Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
But anyway, so she was actually, the Squirty Beaver was her idea. She doesn't know I'm calling it that. That's her punishment. See, I never wrecked her car when I was a child. I had a boyfriend that did, but he paid for it.
There you go.
This is her payback now. You know.
There you go. I like it.
She gets the Squirty Beaver credit. And so it was her idea. She was like, you ought to do a squirt flavor. That's a really good flavor to go with weed. And I said, okay, what's in it? And she told me, and I said, all right, I'm going to make it. And then I brought it down to her to test, and she said it was exquisite. And for that bitch to say that something is right on, then I'm telling you, folks,
you nailed it.
Good. I nailed it.
Nailed it. Good. All right, honey. We are at 9:05.
Okay, if you say so. I can't believe the bird hasn't been screaming. The door's open.
I know.
I told him it was very important that I be on WTHC tonight, and he had to be quiet.
See, and he listened. He knows.
Exactly.
He knows. All right, my love. Well, we are going to have to do this again soon.
Okay, and let me just say one more thing. Stop
Absolutely.
the 22. Give a veteran a fucking hug. They all fucking need it, and they lie. They say they're fine. They're not.
Thank them always.
And not all of them want to hear that, and it's fine either way. Like, I don't push any agenda, but the one agenda I will push is if you smoke weed, you better smoke some with a vet.
Oh yeah.
You know, if that's the whole Operation Heal vibe, pass it along. You know, it's like. So,
and if you want to follow Lainie, follow Operation Heal on here. She will get you to where you can donate to Operation Heal to get more veterans the medication that they need.
Fourth combat vet safety. Fourth. We got other shit to do. Third.
All right. Well, thank you everyone so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want everyone to have a great night and stay safe, please.
You too.
Wake up, it's Monday, time to tune in. Granny's on the mic with a cheeky little grin. Talking about terps, tinctures, and trees. Dropping that knowledge like a breeze through the leaves. She's been rolling joints since 73. Knew the truth about weed before the PhDs. Now she's here to share what the doctors missed. Every bud she touches got a healing twist. Granny's got the good stuff, yes she do. CBD, THC, and a cup of tea too. Lighten up your mind and your endo system. She's the queen of green, better not forget her. It's Medical Monday, pull up a chair. Granny Cannabis is always gonna care. From pain relief to feeling blessed, Granny's ganja wisdom is the best. She's not your average cookie baking type, unless that cookie's got canna butter right. Talking tinctures, topicals, RSO, giving out the facts every patient should know. No shame in the game when you're living in pain. Granny's got your back, sunshine or rain. She's the medicine mama with a heart of gold, and every story she tells, pure freedom boy. Granny's got the good stuff, yes she do. CBD, THC, and a cup of tea too. Lighten up your mind and your endo system.